My name is Serene High Priestess Gorgeous. I am here today to shed some light on the awakening, ascending consciousness here, what that story might look like. I'm going to illuminate, elucidate, enumerate some concepts and ideas around practical means, mechanisms, methodologies for stepping forward into the future, stepping out of the past. Okay, the past has its place, and that's the throne you sit on. The past is only what was experienced. That's true actual past when you incorporate a higher awareness. In the lower mundane realms, past would be, what you lived, what history is. Break history down, it's his story. Her story is actually called the mystery. It's the story of the illusion that was put on you. That time when you got separated from your Christ and decided to align yourself with the concept idea of Jesus, who in reality is Jupiter, who in reality is the being that personifies the higher self, the being that comes from the Godhead, not the God source. So we're going to step into some mysteries. I'm going to illuminate, enumerate, elucidate some stories for you. Ultimately, I hope you take them forward in concept and idea. I'm going to start out just with a little guidance on what called us to the table here. It was something about stepping into your cycle by walking out of your karma, basically showing up for yourself. We got Liliel, Angel of the Night. Okay, so any of those in the mystery school, if you're in Covina de Neptis, Sisterhood of the Night, you would know about that. And then again, we got more God source energy, Duma. So for whatever reason, when I came to the table, I was called to pump us up today, break us in with my belly dancing practice list. I could share that with you if you're part of the clientele. Just ask for the Spotify playlist. That one is called Danza Trice. It's basically for for the lotuses, the temple lotuses. If you like to do warm up with belly dancing music, that would be that. There's a lot of clapping and pump up kind of beats. Duma is really interesting because Duma is the ability to perceive that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. All of your experiences, whatever you choose to call them, they impress upon the soul that the physical reality is already the past. Even by the time you realize that there's some sensation on your body, by the time you experience it and recognize it, you're in the past. There's a high degree of latency there. Um, Emotions are physical. Emotions are the experience that press upon the soul. The soul is the part that accumulates the memory and accesses the memory of the whole timeline, of the string theory, of that infinity above the head, and a couple of cards, mostly the Magician and the Strength card being the elder of the High Priestesses. All right, so a lot of that's coming through with these Angelarium cards because we have Duma and Lilial. Those are both angelic energies. So we have Angel of the Night and Angel of Dreams. Night is when you descend down into matter. I know we like to call it other things. Yes, those would be applicable. But for this concept and idea, we've descended as spiritual beings from the heaven. Of course, we've descended into darkness because there needs to be something to hold on to that light and have that experience. We're going to need to create a string to theorize, to experience, to cast upon the universe the vision, the intent, the drives, desires, passions, motivations, right? And as we go down the road to actualize the God alive in us, that's called the dharmic path, we have to expedite things. Fire purifies. So in the night, we tend to see some type of light. And there also is some type of experience that happens simultaneously. Okay, sorry for the glare. And this is Duma. All right, I guess we're here. They're starting to talk, so why don't we jump into the channel? So part of the reason why I was constructing the universe for you, trying to tell you the Godhead versus, I didn't introduce that yet. Let me explain to you the cycle, what I understand of it so far. What is today? The 14th of September. I don't know where I got September. It's 14th of April. I'm hearing a lot of Libra energy, and it is a Aries new moon. But the partnership energy to the new moon would be Libra. The sun's in Aries, the moon's in Aries, right about now. Also, Mercury's coming out of retrograde. I believe that's in Aries. Okay, so Aries is the concept and idea of the will. What is the life force alive in you? A lot of us think that it's the first sign. It is not. It is really the first and seventh chakra axis. It's also the axis between the first and the seventh house. What does that mean? Well, you come into the world, you come into the simulation, whatever the experience is. There's a part of you that is life existing. We would call that Aries. Again, Aries defines the will. A lot of us are under the impression that Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. I would believe more that is either Libra or Sagittarius. And it depends on what you're doing. If you are talking about the soul, the spirit in its full power, I would say Sagittarius is that sign. If you're talking about the soul descending into, the spirit descending into matter, basically soul union, I would have to say Libra would be the first sign, Virgo being the 12th sign. And remember, Pisces is rumored to be the 12th sign that opposes Virgo. So let's step into this just a little bit more. If we're dealing with this Aries Libra axis, that's really the Fool card. The path between Aries and Libra is the Fool card. What is that rule? The experience. Both I and we. In doing so, fighting to live or life breaking out of the infinite, because the sign before Aries is Pisces, there needs to be some type of endurance. Endurance is considered emotional strength in this concept. And emotional strength is silence of the plight, the part that wounds, but adherence and collaboration, speaking what it is that the will is, what it is that the vision is. So you'll see obstacles to you breaking out, breaking free, or going from point A to point B is another. And what'll happen is immediately the desire will be strengthened. Translation, if the why is big enough, the how is not going to matter. If you got a burning desire, whatever obstacle you need to go through, whatever mountain you need to climb, ain't gonna matter. And as we go on, strive to live, we confront things. And oftentimes what we're confronting is deep alive in us. It may appear to us that it's through another person, it's some lover, some mother, some teacher, some boss, some coworker, okay? But oftentimes whatever is alive in us anchors into the physical in some type of experience. So it will be expressed or mirrored to you by another person, place, or thing. Other, Libra, rules other. Okay? And according to how you choose to use the Godhead or the lower self to manifest is the world that you'll create. Wow. So I just want to show you this. I have this in the middle. This is Da'at. So a lot of people call it Daf. I'm sorry, I like Du'at. Da'at, Ma'at. And I will straight up Egyptianize it. I will go into tones. So the whole Daf thing don't resonate with me. I'm just going to put that out there. So let me just go back to Night, because Night won't stop talking. All right, here's the channel, because I would like to get on to reading cards. I keep having this oracle thing come in, and I'm trying to get to Priestess here. So Night is really saying a lot of like understanding that we are infinite light beings. Most of us. We are of the aeon of the arc of the covenant, meaning there's an angel of life and universal oneness and, you know, unconditional love. That's the being that we descend from that is easier to align with. Some of us don't. Some of us are descending from the soul group of darker entities. We would call those archons. I would call those motherfuckers. Some people you come across are demonic in their nature. They're more aligned with things that consume. They don't give life. They don't unify. They don't connect to the infinite. But we descend from some higher being. We're having a third dimensional, fourth dimensional experience. That's kindergarten to other beings out there. That would be like preschool, you know. So as we descend down here from the part of us that is infinite, it's so that we can basically descend into one of our memories. But these are memories that expand over thousands and thousands of years. It's basically an utterance from the mouth of the creator, and it has a tone and a frequency. And according to wherever you're aligned, you drop into that experience. We're the fourth word of the creator. That's not true. The whole black and white and Asian, there's actually multitudes of lineages all going in one petri dish to see if we can step into singularity, to see if we can unify. Some of us are here to help, some of us are here to experience, and others of us are trapped in a cycle. And the reason that this night card won't shut up is because I'm being told to tell you like how that works. We descend down here into darkness, so everyone here has a lower self. We are angelic in our nature, meaning we can be some type of arc, you know, some type of sacred geometry, some type of God's finger yod, some type of prism that could cross the gap between the divine realms and the material realms. We could transmit a divine message. And that's essentially what angels are. They are bridges between the divine and the mundane. And we're experiencing that. Literally, this incarnation is a path of light from the heavens down into the darkness, the matter, the material. Okay? And we align ourselves with all types of beliefs. Now, some of them were given to us. It's true. Okay? So we got told who we were, what we could do, what our value and worth was, and we choose to believe it for whatever reason. You know, you can't help the womb you fall out of and, you know, what you're conditioned as an, you know, early. So it may not be your fault, but it is your responsibility to seek from a place that's alive in you. So look out from yourself onto the world. And as you're perceiving the experience of whatever you vibrate at, look up and not down. Unite instead of separate and contract. Instead of becoming combative with the experience, punching, saying, rejecting, suppressing, projecting onto others. Things that are illusionary already, because when you die, when you divide from the darkness, that's what a death is. It's a purging of the shadows. Why do you think the phoenix always emerges? Why do you think the astral is so important? Why do you think Scorpio rules that? Because it's the intelligence of the soul. The soul is the darkness that you've descended into. As a creator being, soul is water. There are depths of the ocean that the sun doesn't get. Because the sun is, believe it or not, a sun. It is the being that was created by the creator. Do you realize that? Not only is there S-O-N, but there's S-U-N. So that soul is the sun that is the egg inside of the womb. Sol, sun, S-U-N. So when you understand this, there is a part of you that is already connected to the infinite that is also having its own individualized experience. Once you can get in alignment with that, you're ready to go on and align yourself with this ascension. Because until you stop fighting the human experience and look out into the human experience as a God or creator being, just because you're God doesn't mean you're all powerful source creator. Okay, but the moment that you're able to align with the experience as like looking out into the world, onto the world from the experience, knowing that this is a simulation, this is a demonstration. Go into your wildest dreams, but do not get lost in the projection of your wildest dreams as well. Have that sword, discernment, ability to separate yourself from the illusion. And then you're in a safe place, because up until you can realize that you're a creator being having a human experience, you're going to be in that experience, fighting that experience instead of using that to push you up. The darkness you're perceiving, the things that are scaring you, you have to embrace them because you just descended into them. Does that make sense? You're exploring and or experiencing some mirror image of your divine self, and you must do that in order to fully leverage, fully own, fully harness your infinity. Doesn't mean you can't use it, but you need to know the depths of who you are. You know, every day what I see in my practice, every day what I see in the temple is people who have sent themselves out and their self is running around, their higher self. It's called your say. You've given your say away and it's running around looking for something that you cannot take with you into the divine realm. It is not eternal, it's not immortal, therefore it is not spiritual. It is lacking in divine nature, meaning void of ignorance, void of separation. All right? So I always have to plead them, and whatever they've come to me, I respond back with the answer to the question and say, please, my dear child, come back to yourself, call yourself back to yourself, deliver yourself unto your own self. God is alive in you, so therefore you don't need to go out searching for it, giving your power away in that process. All right, so I really hope the night card here is satisfied because I'd like to carry on. So if we take the path of knowledge, because that's what the Oth represents. The Oth represents, it's kind of like a rebellious Gothic Mercury. A lot of people don't know this about Mercury. And the way that the mysteries present themselves, I always take Papa Legba. Me personally, I don't really align myself with the Greek stories. I know them very well. I just don't particularly care to repeat them. Um, Papa Legba to me has the ability to be old and feisty, has the ability to be young and devout, meaning you could be a little bit more ignorant when you're dealing with the senior Papa Legba. When you're dealing with Alegua, you have to come correct. And so that whole aspect of dichotomy is balance, is symmetry, is unity to me. A lot of people don't know this, but you know, Mercury is the concept and idea to me of the prince, the proverbial prince, always seeming prepubescent, but clearly is adept in some way, has been initiated into some mysteries, very androgynous, is neither male nor female, is neither neuter nor completely active, you know, and is all about aligning with the experience, not the being, not the consciousness, the experience. So very much of the world, but is able to navigate the world in ways that elevate you to the creator beings, the gods, the devas. That to me is what Mercury is. And it's interesting because Doth is the hidden knowledge. It's when you get initiated into something where now you know. You were put in the matrix, you were perceiving some reality, you were conditioned in some way to act like a specific type of dog, whatever breed was useful for whatever task you were designed to carry on. And I call it dog because when you drop out of the heavens as a god, you become a dog. That's why 7 is so important, because when you drop out of the heavens as a 7, you become an L. As an Elohim, element, El Chonyo. So when you step into your knowledge, you find a way to initiate yourself back to yourself. When you call back your say, when you awaken your kundalini, when you christen yourself, when you find the truth of who you are, your origins, when you learn how to build a nation, when you learn how to take back your sovereignty, what happens is you have that knowledge. You've died already, so they can't kill you. Maybe your body can be, destroyed, but they ain't got nothing on your soul. Okay? That's what I see there, and that's Thoth. That's knowledge. That's what is happening when you see the tarot card and the Hierophant's holding that little staff with 3 little sticks in it. When anybody is saying, I know what these powered elite secret societies are doing, you don't need to idealize or identify or align yourself with anybody but your own self and your own truth when you step into that knowledge. And if you go on that path, you will unlock the mysteries that are alive in you. You'll know what soul group you belong to. You'll know who your guides and ancestors are. You'll remember why you've been having these experiences lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. You will remember them. And yes, of course, there are things you can do, and it will be difficult if you don't do these things, like going vegan and changing your diet. And I'm not just talking about the food you're stuffing in your mouth. I'm talking about the people that you're around. I'm talking about what you decide to watch on TV, what you decide to read, and eventually where you take up the most amount of your time, which is where you sleep and where you work. Oftentimes, as you ascend, the job shifts and the living situation shifts, as well as the relationships shift. But you're traveling through the darkness with your citizenship, your relationships, your friendships, your partnerships. Okay? So something has to be destroyed. It's time to bring out the cards. Woo! Finally. Pardon me, that was a long channel. I'm not gonna apologize. Sorry, ain't sorry, but that was a bit much for me. 30 minutes in. Okay, so again, hi, hello, and welcome to Vertice dall'Abbondanza, Vertex of Abundance. My name is Priestess Gorgeous, and I will be your oracle today. Sorry, I have the belly dancing music on here very low. So I'm off. They got me. Okay. All right. So we need not be afraid to explore our Okay, so the card of the day is Strength card, and that's going to be the card of the week. So, Strength, Courage, and Wisdom. So, Aries. Aries is the will to strike your will upon the universe, breaking out, fighting out for life. It's the archetype of the hunter-gatherer. So, facing the experience head on, and the only thing that must survive is the burning desire. Like I said before, you can be destroyed, but if your intention creates life, that can live on. So here in the physical, let me explain to you what's going on. The only place where you're in the present is your heart chakra. That's when you do the Chariot and the Alchemist, where you can mix and match the experience. You can add some shadow, add some light, add some higher self, add some lower self. You know, you need to move through things. Eventually, you do feel a little bit of lust, a little bit of passion. You might need to experience that. You got to be able to drop and navigate the chakras. It's the being stuck in one that doesn't, you know, like, and realize when you're stuck below the heart, you're manifesting from that place. That means you're manifesting from your lower nature. The being that rules the lower nature is the devil. Okay, and there's other ones as well. Most of them are anything between 10 and 18. So if it's not an even number, it would be the realm that something exists in. For instance, when you're stuck in the devil's energy, you need a tower event. You need a temperance event to bring you out of that. Okay. So we come in here saying, hey, our hopes and wishes and dreams are talking. Clearly, I need to either stand up to bullies, stand up to things alive in me. Clearly, I need to have a very strong will to go out and face what's alive in me, to confront what's out there, to confront what's alive in me. And what this will bring me is knowledge of the mystery. It's going to start with the mystery of me, how I got here, who I am, and what I'm here to do. That's what it means to show up for yourself. To know that you're down here in darkness, and to know that alive in you, you are being governed by something that can confront the darkness and use that, transmute that to create whatever reality that you want. Because I say, when you're in the heart, you're in the present. When you're in your higher self, you're manifesting from the future. When you're in your lower self, you're still in your wounding. Because the lower self is the past. The past only becomes the past, and this is string theory, so I won't go too far into it. The past only becomes the past when it's being experienced. So the observing the event actually changes the event. That is really what the timeline is about. Our higher self is in the future, our lower self is in the past, and the 0 point is the present. That is also the emotions. So if you're really ready to step into your higher self, to step into your future and not heal from the past, to stand in your power, knowing that experience taught you whatever needed, if you're still disintegrating yourself and your belief system from what happened to you, you're not ready. And it's not a good or bad thing. We're all on our journey, all on our mission, serving our agreement, our covenant with Great Spirit. Okay, but if you're ready to kind of, you know, switch your poles, there's what that's called, and that's why they're the police. They're attracted to wherever the being is in the lower self. Okay, in the higher self, the police are repelled, and police is more than police. There's Interpol, Europol. Okay, so FBI is to keep the darkness out, to vilify the darkness, which is women and melanated people. It's not just, it's FBI is, when you say female body inspector, it really is the digit that it, FBI equals, there's a number, I forget, it's not 13. But it really is about the mysteries of Mary Magdalene, keeping that out. So the major arcana today is strength, courage, and wisdom. It's the strength card. Governed from your higher self. When you're in your heart, you're aware of the experience. If you're governing from your higher self, you can have neutral detached observation. What that means with this neutral detached observation is you are just literally remote viewing the experience. It doesn't actually matter what it is. If it's something that doesn't align with you, then you release it. Understanding that this whole journey, even being alive, you are the devil. So if you're not the one being the gatekeeper, you're out of alignment. Why? Because you've already descended down into your lower self. Therefore, you should be the devil. You should be the one who is the most masterful in the material. At least the physicality, the earth energy in your own toroidal field, in your own aura. And since it's coming through in that exalted place, it means you descended into matter, you descended into the physical, your physical vessel. That's that mark of the beast, the 666 carbon or melanin. It's up to you. Depends on what your skin looks like. Doesn't matter. That's what the beast is. If you have a physical vessel, you've got a devil. That means you're genius. It's the full potentiality of your uncoiled kundalini. So once it's fully realized, it's no longer really the devil. It's that hangman. The hangman is the finding consciousness, finding awareness. That's why the snake's in there too. At least for the, oh, there we go. At least for the temple deck, which is the thought. That's not, the temple doesn't have their own deck yet. Okay, you see this kundalini there? So let's go through that again, because I could, now that the channel's out, I could paraphrase it. Your thoughts, meaning your belief system, creates your reality. Your emotions manifest your reality. And only the emotions, emotional experience is what the present is. Okay? Emotions are energy in motion. You use that to create. Your third eye is feminine. So you are able to align with the experience and embody that because you're connected, you're unified with it. Okay? If you are descending down into matter and you are operating at a lower frequency, you're not at the higher colors of the spectrum there. You're not above the heart, green, blue, purple, violet. Like the strength card, this talks about the source of the higher self, violet, ultraviolet. That's going up towards the heavens in the colors we can't perceive. Going down towards hell is red and infrared. Okay? Staying here in the present, alchemizing the experience, use it all, baby. Use your enlightenment and your place of divine truth, blue, to use both the pure, the physical and the non-physical is what that would mean whenever you see red and white together like that. So this would be Father, Mother, Son. I don't believe in the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. But Son is Heru. Not Jesus. Jesus is the good ship Jesus of Lubbock, the first ship that brought slaves to the Americas. And everybody is a slave. Black, white, purple, otherwise. The Vatican owned your birth certificate. And if you're not rich, white, from a very specific genealogical family, of which there's only 13, you are a slave. That's what Jesus Christ means. And Lucifer is the light that you begin to see in the darkness. Once you can find a light in the darkness, begin aligning with your own light. Once something tells you that there's better than the experience that you're in, go searching in yourself for that. That's how you lead yourself out of the darkness into your own light. The moon card is the concept and idea of how do you get to your light? Well, whenever you see those horns, it's usually the moon. Like that instead of like that, it means somebody there is unawakened. Because when you look at Mercury, it's Venus with that upright. Okay? Meaning somebody has gone through their shadow, gone down the path, confronted what was alive in them, looked at their tamed self, domesticated self, and their wild self, their lower nature and their higher nature, and they've walked the middle path to transmute their shadow and find. So where is your light? It's at the end of your shadow. Okay? How do you get to your light? You confront what's alive in you. You need a dark journey of the soul to come out into some lightness eventually. Why do you think the sun always comes after the moon in the major arcana? Okay? But you've got to know what's alive in you because before the moon is the strength card. All that ultraviolet. It's where you descend from in the stars and then you come into matter. The astral plane is what the moon card represents. The third dimension is the sun card, but what it means there is the dimension below the sun. The dimension on the other side of the sun is the moon card. That's where our astral bodies is, and when you watch the Matrix, that's where we're sitting plugged into. So the moon in your chart would tell you how to unlock your infinite potentiality in terms of your spiritual. Your ability to leverage your consciousness in the soul group. Both the sign and the house would tell you quite a bit. All right? Because the sun is your gift, how God is alive in you, and the moon is how you use that, how you send that around. Okay? So you're in the physical. You have to eat, you have to fuck, you have to do all those things. That's your lower self. You need to love. You need to heal. You need to see. You need to understand. You need to strive towards something. That's your higher self. The experience you're having was created by your beliefs, But when you feel that experience, when you experience an emotion, it tells you what you're experiencing. So, how the experience presses upon you is in the emotional experience. That's the present. And if your beliefs and your programming has aligned you towards, wow, this experience is happening to me, poor me, I'm going to react, meaning govern from your lower self, versus respond, govern from the higher self, you're never going to get out of that. Some of us just have the experience and we manifest from the higher self. We choose to see love. We choose to see abundance. We don't separate ourselves from the experience. So this was a special Soul Purpose Saturday. Normally they're pre-recorded. I'm going to do that for a little bit until we start live broadcasting as a business model. I'm not going to even talk about it right now. So I want to tell you what the root is. We're rooted in the matrix. We're just having the experience. We've descended into our darkness, and in our higher self, we're finding a lot of things alive in us. So as we're in our darkness, we become illumined by our own shit, frankly. Our own little story, however effed up it is, however unaligned we are in reality, however not awakened we are in reality, that's what's coming up to the surface. All right? And it starts with our lower self, literally coming into our lower self. So some of us just aren't in alignment because you use your lower self to get to your higher self. You have to step on top of it like you're climbing a mountain. It's essentially what it is. That's why you always see a mountain in every devil card. Or the goat which climbs the mountain. And oftentimes our ego tells us that we're done climbing mountains. And in reality, when you're done climbing mountains, you go home, back upstairs. So you climb one mountain, then you climb the next, and you climb the next, and you climb the next. And the experiences of climbing the mountains teach you something. They teach you about your resonance. In the physical, that's karma. You're going to manifest whatever you vibrate with here in the physical. In the spiritual, it's your resonance. What color of the rainbow do you see when you descend into matter? That's the kind of creator that you are. And sometimes it's not a bad thing, but you have to come into that knowledge from a higher place. So if you find out during divination that you're a Gu child or a Legba child, that's okay. If you're red, that's okay. But then you can use that for healing instead of being trapped in your own ignorance. If you're going around everywhere and people's hearts are getting broken and you're causing conflict and chaos and separation everywhere you go, and you're consistently accidentally stabbing yourself or cutting yourself and getting nicks and scrapes, there's all types of assaults and violence in your life. If you're getting in accidents and there's all types of weapons around you and you're unsure why, it could be that you're either seeing red all the time, you're vibrating red in your aura, or you're a Gu child. So being in a place is not bad. Being demonic or devilish is not bad, because another word for that is you are here to help people with physical experiences. I would stay out of spirituality, and everything is spiritual. So again, practice discernment. Be conscious in the engagement. Okay? But being something is not bad. It's the being governed from something that could be bad. Even the deity of the red ray descends from the heavenly plane. So even if it's darkness, dereliction, destruction, and separation, the abode of the deity that rules that is the heavens. The devil still has a bedroom in God's house. He just doesn't visit home very often. So that's what came through me. I'm going to paraphrase here. The universe is knocking on the door with the star card. It's giving us the guidance of the angel of silence. Nothing is happening to us. It is all happening for us. Okay? And that's what's calling us to the gate. Okay? Some of the consciousness around that is what we're already doing here is trying to align with us, and we're not yet at the right vibration. We're not in alignment with universal law, spiritual principles enough to be at the resonance which we can receive that transmission. So we're still trying to align ourselves in some way. And how we would show up is just being ready to experience that, not needing to know everything all the time, not being able to give it a label all the time, to classify it in the external world, to say, what does this mean to me? What's going on? What am I perceiving? What do I need right now? All right, my heart is hurting. Wow, there's some wounding here. What was my ignorance? What was my shadow? How did I call this experience to me? Okay, now I can release it. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, so that's hello, get to business from Mama Universe there. And she says what you can do already, or what might already be doing it. You're already energized to this frequency. She's saying that, listen, it's the experience itself. You're here to experience. It's not the experience so much that it is your relationship, my child, to the experience that is creating your suffering. So label it differently. You'll have a different experience. Enough of the bullshit. Release the drama. Okay. And how that actually works is, again, what we're doing is trying to align. If you're a little sleepy and you don't slightly go over the next lane and hear a little brr, 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 something might not let you know to hustle up and handle up on that. You know, eyes on the road, back straight, pay attention, rule from your higher self, not no DUI shit, right? So you have to experience, you have to get slapped around, it needs to hurt just a little bit. It ain't gonna be worth no nothing if you didn't sweat a little bit. And if you're aligned with something that would stand in opposition to that universal law and principle of resonance, you're out of alignment. You're smoking some crack. That's how it is. You know, mama can come through and say, hey, here's an angel for your right shoulder. And you would be like, but the devil's my friend. I don't want to let him go. You know, and I'm dramatizing an idea because it's funny when you can laugh at yourself, if you have awareness of yourself, if you can have detachment from the experience. Neutral detached observation means what you're wanting, thinking, and needing. What is that? Discernment. What is that? Mutual exchange of boundaries without needing to say them out loud and explain them to the other person or justify them externally. You're doing it because you have needs and you want to handle up on your business. And you're not here to wipe other people's behinds. You're going to let them do it themselves. That's why a lot of us readers don't like to always tell you the answer if he's going to come back or what he's thinking, why he's doing what he's doing. Honey, he ain't doing you. Next matter of business. What's alive in you that has the need to come and pay to get told the obvious? You know, it's one of those kinds of things because mama says just have the experience because you're trying to align yourself. Now, the other part of that is if you don't master the beast is going to master you. If you don't govern from your higher self, your lower self is going to govern you. And that's just a matter of reality. So the next order of business would be how to heal. Now, we will have to understand a lot of the lower self in order to heal. And the understanding of the lower self is the strength card, when you can govern over it. You know, watching another reader, she always says, whenever I see the strength card, I know the devil was near. I see it a little bit differently, but I agree. I don't disagree with that. I see it as your higher self, you need to govern from that place. You might also be stepping into eternity. You might be operating from outside the timeline finally. So things will be aligning to you instead of you aligning to them. You're creating your own centrifuge. You're creating your own toroidal field. And things are stepping into your world. You're not stepping into theirs. So in that sense, I would agree. And that's what Mama's saying. Okay, if you're going to heal, you're going to need to stand as the high priestess with the devil on one side and your higher self on the other side and keep it moving. Meditate, contemplate, experience, allow yourself to navigate, alchemize through things. Your life and the journey that you're walking is the sacred space where the working, the ritual is taking place. Okay? So if we do that as we walk out into the world, there's going to be confronting. What it's going to look like in the material will be confronting shadow and the lack of alignment. So we're going to have those places of wobble. When we have the little wobble, whatever it is. X motherfucker comes back calling and snooping around, trying to stick it somewhere. And you're like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I should. And it's clear homeboy ain't got nothing going on. And you're still trying to welcome home some bullshit. You need to take out the pen and paper. That's a wobble. Okay? If you're trying something new for the first time, never done a chant before, never done a mantra before, and you're all of a sudden listening to some meditation, guided meditation, and you can't pronounce everything, that's a wobble. Alive in you, that shadow talking is your ego wanting to be perfect. Take out a pen and paper, keep it moving. You know, if you're being called at work to switch jobs or chase down your dreams because you took something safe and secure 5 years ago when it was supposed to be 2 years, but 3 years later, you're finally waking up, that's a wobble. Pay attention, take out a pen and paper and get to work. Okay? Just go ahead and wobble. You're going to have to be a little out of alignment to get back to alignment. Mind your business, get to business. It's just about the experience because you're coming from a safer place. You're not down here in the experience. If you die in this world, you wake up somewhere else. This is a video game, which is a simulation. So walking through this, what comes through that portal is the governing from the higher self. It's called transmutation. Alchemy is another word. So you're going to be in a world with caca. You're going to be in a world with some goodies. You got to use them both to make something. Sometimes you can spend thrifty on the expensive body wash. Sometimes you got to mix and match and just kind of cheap it out. I don't really do that with body wash, but like wine. I'll buy the expensive wine for myself and the cheap wine for guests. And I'll serve one bad bottle after everybody's had a couple glasses of good wine, because then they're already drunk and they won't notice. Because I'm cheap. I mean, I'd rather ferment my own honey wine with plums and stuff and have it on high holidays when I'm toasting the goddess instead of like, you know. So, I mean, it's that kind of thing, mixing and matching. Life is not always going to be beautiful. You're not 100% divine angel. You know, you got some cockatoo, you got some cockamamie stories, some cockamamie bullshit drama, whatever it is. Okay? So that's this energy. Okay? Hi, Lisa. Welcome home. So, ultimately, because I'm finding that we're moving forward into spiritual technology, into the ability to see, perceive the world as it is from the higher place. My recommendations would be to go forward into your own darkness. What's hiding in the shadows? When you know what it is, you can move through it. Yeah, you might not be able to do it right away. Like I said, and this is my story, y'all. This is, you know, I wasn't told this in one of my coaching seminars or 15 years of personal development or whatever. You know, I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of a laugh. I really mean when I say, when you find your higher self, it's through your lower self. If you don't sense yourself slipping, you're not going to know that you were on high ground. And a lot of people get in their ego about that. Oh, I did this and I don't want anybody to know. It's like, you're human. Good for you. You know, or I was hurt and I don't want anybody to know. Well, get to the place where you're not hurt anymore. Find what's alive in you that perceived the hurt. He offended me. I hate that. I strongly dislike it. Why? Because nobody can make you feel better than or less than. If you were offended, it was a choice. You decided to be offended. And I'll do that to myself. I will say, I choose to be offended because of this. I have this principle. It's not being met. If I feel respected in our relationship, I need the agreement that you address me in a specific way. Typically, I would say, motherfucker, honor my grace. So it really is that world. The universe is conspiring to help you. And according to the world you perceive is what you manifest. If you descend from your higher self into the laws of matter and you get caught up in attachments, love is one, food is another, substance is another, TV is another, money is another. Fuckery, ultimately, is what it is. Anything that's physical that can be perceived, except an emotion. Anything other than that. And anything that involves your lack of awareness of discernment of what your emotions are, the neutral detached observation of the experience itself and how it impresses upon the astral body, the emotional body, you're not passing that test. It's not how it works. So when you come here, the universe is conspiring to help you, and according to what you've aligned yourself with is the what you'll manifest. That's what karma is. You can't manifest karma if you're operating at a different frequency in which you attracted that karma. So if you were an asshole McMotherfucker douchebag one day and you hurt somebody and you repent, and I'm going to use that word because it strikes an emotion, but you honestly cultivate the life of like, I never want to be the person that does that again, and I'm going to go out and help the homeless and love everybody, and oh my gosh, great goddess, I worship you, I praise you, praise Nana, right? Or whatever goddess you identify with. Today it's a Nana, I'm just hearing her today. Because she's in everything. She's in the money, she's in the language, she's in the everything, and she's peeking out. Goddess is peeking out all the time, but we're so enmeshed in darkness in the material world that we can't see her. And the power to lead is literally having us give our power away to darkness and not give our power away to unity, which is Inanna, the goddess that gave birth the material, right? So I can talk forever. We're not going to do that. Ultimately, my findings are that we're moving forward, and we're going to be competing with things that are alive in us. We're going to be confronting things alive in us, things hiding in the shadows, the lack of awareness of our divinity, how it is that we are children of the divine. We all come from the goddess. That's what the sun is, the child of the universe. So the recommendation would be alchemy. You know that's 2 5s, number 14 and number 5. Spiritual technology, governing from the higher self. We've got to create our own world too, because the Hierophant to me is being born in a world of illusion. Especially when the Magician and the Hierophant come out, I'd much rather see if I don't see the Emperor or the Hermit in that card, I always give them a negative connotation. To me, it would be somebody creating a world where you're conditioned and programmed to give your power away, where you could be indoctrinated or trained or initiated into sheepling. It's oftentimes called whitewashing or pinkwashing. In my world, of course, you may not be melanated, so no need to offend. It would be, again, conditioning and indoctrination. It would be social programming. Basically, if you're female, it would be the things that push you down into your sacral chakra, being told you're pretty, being called sassy or bossy or smart. It happens to me. People say, "Oh, you're very articulate." Duh, bitch. I'm a goddess, not a motherfucking peasant. Of course, I'm gonna speak better than you, fucking dumb cunt. Excuse me, but it's that kind of like, it's that moment where you'd be like, I can say that in my head now and not speak it out loud to her, because I would do that. But that's social programming social programming and conditioning, where you get given an idea about how you should be instead of who you truly are, and you're tolerated and not celebrated unless you're a perfect little sheep, where you dance pretty and sell your soul just to be accepted. Okay, so this is about creating a world where your spiritual technology, your belief systems, you're in alignment with. They've been created from your higher self, not from your lower self, your unawakened self, or the self that gave power away. That's what that is meaning to me. And I know I got really harsh there for a minute, but it was necessary, because this is about the reality of living in the day-to-day. Okay? The reality of living in the day-to-day is that we are here enmeshed in darkness, and there is no way to get around that without honoring the reality of that. If we want to tell ourselves little stories to make ourselves feel better for an hour or for a day, when we got to wake up tomorrow and deal with that broken heart again, what the hell are you doing? I ain't going to contribute to my own bullshit, let alone somebody else's. I don't co-sign people's drama, and neither should you. So we're going to close out, and again, it's a special edition, so we're still going with the Lana Fairchild until the new year, which starts in September on the Libra new moon. But today we'll be reading from the Angelarium. I got this back in June of last year and I finally opened it this month. So thank you, whoever got it. When I got it, I would have sent you a thank you note. And I just want to thank you again because I'm finally using it, whoever gave. And if you want to gift the temple, it's office.vertexofabundance.org. There's a wish list of tarot decks. Anyway, so we're going to read from the Angelarium Oracle of Emanations by Eli Manaya and Peter Moorbacher. We're reading Hamsed, the Angel of Annihilation. And that means you have to go through the death and master death in order to really be able to find your divinity again. That's when you'll be allowed back into heaven. And heaven means residing and sitting on the throne of your higher self. That is what heaven truly means. I know they lied to you and told you other things. I'm sorry. The Unmaker, a terrible sight to behold, the void eating itself and making itself anew. That which should no longer exist is unmade by Hamsed's hands. There is something that needs to be removed. Look upon that which should not be and lose it from existence. Signs is a hood, an eclipse, or an empty field. Boom, da-da, wow, boom, 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 oh! Oh my gosh, what are the signs again? I'm sorry, that was like a personal moment. A hood, an eclipse, or an empty field. That to me is death. When things get eclipsed out of your life, the fuckery is what gets eclipsed out of your life. You know, my Vidya, the Hindu month that I was born into, is called Chi Namasta. It's one of the emanations of Kali, and my first name is Kali. So gorgeous is my middle name. Hi, hello, and welcome. So when I hear an eclipse, I'm hearing the severing of the head of illusion in the funeral pyre. That's what I'm hearing. Chinamasta. She who holds the severed head of illusion in the funeral pyre. An apocalyptic midwife. That's why we have Soul Purpose Saturday. I'm being the death card. It's what it is. It's a death sermon. Working at the threshold. I'm helping you murder your illusion. That's what an apocalyptic midwife is. We facilitate the terms and the agreements of our own demise. We deliver ourselves onto ourselves, and we cut our bullshit out our own fucking selves. That's what it is. We hold the scythe to our own ignorance. The angel of annihilation. Soul Purpose Saturday, y'all. It's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you. I will take 2 questions. Yes, Queen Nicole, burden that old self out. Exactly. You're welcome, Queen Nicole. Yes, absolutely. Hi, hello, and welcome. If you're new, hit subscribe, share with your friends. If you are, Shabbat Shalom. Shalom, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Thanks, Lady V. Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a few more questions and then get out of here. So the deck, again, was the Angelarium. I love this deck. I love this deck. If you're returning, go ahead and hit. Thank you, Yoga Lotus. And that's one of my favorite songs in the world right now. Thanks, Yoga Lotus. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Giggle Glimmer, Lisa. Oh, this will stay online. So, Lisa, you can catch this later. You're welcome, Champagne. Hope you're doing well. Yes. Okay, so I guess there's no questions. I'm gonna go and have my lunch, and if you had a reading yesterday, I'm gonna email you after lunch. So I got the few flash sale readings. There's still a flash sale going on, and I'm gonna actually be working until I'm working until the 21st. So there's an extra day open for the flash sale, everybody. Because after that, I'll be away cranking out content, and I won't be accessible until June again. Okay, everyone, go ahead and remember to hit the like button. Okay, great. Oh, I love this song. Okay, I don't see any more questions. What is flash sale? Flash sale is a reading for 64% off of the retail price. And you can find it by clicking on bookings and donations in the show notes. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna go. You have a great weekend. Peace be with you. Namaste, Dandavat, and Ashe. May you live in wholeness and abundance and balanced vibration. May you exist in a world of beauty and harmony. May you perceive the divine grace